wanderings, and these books are generally attributed to the authorship of Moses or those who were close to him. And then Deuteronomy, the last book, it presents the final speeches that Moses made to the people, where he reminded the Israelites of their covenant they had made with God, and that they need to keep this covenant before they enter into the promised land. Now, one of the most famous things that happened to the Israelites is that a portion of them are forced to wander in the wilderness for 40 years before they are allowed to enter the promised land. Now, this occurs when Moses takes the people to the borders of Canaan, and he sends spies over into the land of Israel, land of Canaan, to spy out the land and bring back a report. So he sends 12 spies being representing the 12 tribes. And these spies go in there and they see that the land is wonderful. There's miraculous produce. It's a wonderful land. But they also see people there that they're afraid of. They see giant people, very large people, and they become very fearful. This story is found in the book of Numbers, chapters 13 and 14. And because of this, they refuse to enter the land. They tell Moses, no, we'll be wiped out if we try to enter this land. And so that was the report from 10 of the spies. Two of them, Joshua, who would become the leader of the Israelites after Moses, and a man named Caleb, they come back and say, no, the land is good, and we have faith that God will deliver it into our hands. And they encourage the Israelites to go. But the rest of the people are fearful. They do not want to go. And as a result, God says, okay, then this generation, these adults, you will wander in the wilderness for 40 years until the last person in your generation has died, and then I'll lead the people into the wilderness. So when we hear about the Israelites wandering for 40 years, that is why. And they wander until a new generation arises and takes power over the Israelites. So in the book of Deuteronomy, we find the Israelites poised to enter the promised land. So they are staged in the east on the plains of Moab, which was Moab was just across the Jordan River from Canaan. They're poised there, and Moses gives them a final farewell address. He reminds them of the law. He warns them against committing idolatry, and he calls on them to remain faithful to the Lord God, to the one true God who brought them out of Israel. And the book of Deuteronomy emphasizes that obedience to God brings blessing, while disobedience leads to curses and leads to disfavor, to bad things happening to them. And then Moses, at the very end, he appoints Joshua as his successor to lead the people into the land. And so God had told Moses he would not be allowed to go into the land, but he does allow Moses to go on top of this mountain called Mount Nebo and see the promised land from the high mountain. And after this, Moses dies, and the people mourn his passing. We find the record of this in Deuteronomy chapter 34. And this now sets the stage for the story of Joshua as he will lead the people of Israel into the promised land. So finally, let's look at a few key takeaways from the story of the Exodus. So the first key takeaway or key lesson from Exodus is that we need to trust in God's power. It shows us that despite overwhelming odds, God can still deliver us. We also see, coming out of Exodus, the shaping of the identity of the nation of Israel. The Israelites learned that they're not just a random group of people, but they are a chosen people. And this is very important for them to understand and to the fulfilling of their mission to be a light to the nations. We also see a moral and social vision that is given to them by God that was different than the nations surrounding them. And God lays out laws at Sinai and gives them the people that set a very high ethical standards to create a just and fair society. The wanderings in the wilderness show that the people need to continually depend on God. And this is a lesson for us today, that that we have a need for God. We cannot count on our own ability to deliver us, but we need to rely on God to care for us and to guide us as we move through life. And finally, there's an example or lesson of leadership under the covenant. And Moses' example shows us how a leader under God can lead the people. He sets an example of leaders who seek God's will, who pray and intercede for the people that they lead, and who instruct them in righteousness. And I think for any of us who are teachers or who will be pastors, missionaries who are going to go out as the leaders of God's people, this example of Moses is very important for us to follow because he exemplifies a leader who leads as God would have us to lead. So I am going to stop sharing right there. And this will conclude our lesson for today. Again, I would encourage you to please go back and read through these books. We did not have time to cover them all in detail, but this story of the Exodus is one of the most important stories in the Bible, and it does very much foreshadow what is going to happen with Jesus in the New Testament. So thank you for your attention today, and I look forward to us meeting next week.
Thank you, Professor, for this class. Now we have 5 minutes break. We will have the next class with the second year students. And first year students, you have a break for 1 hour. Your next class will be start at 9 p.m. with the Dr. Donna Thompson. Thank you so much for joining this class.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.